Hey guys, good morning. Just woke up. My wife's still asleep, so I'm gonna change real quick and then I'll meet you upstairs. So usually I try and start my mornings with a Peloton ride or some push-ups or just get the blood flowing, only like 5 or 10 minutes. Back before COVID, I would get up a lot earlier and get the day started even sooner, usually around 6 a.m. But nowadays, it's right at about 7 a.m. right now. And the reason for that is because I'm a little bit more senior now at the firm, but also because we live a lot closer to the office. Back in the day, we lived 15 to 30 minutes away, depending on traffic on the California freeways. But now I'm literally just down the street. It's about 5 minutes away. So it's made my morning habits change quite a bit. Whereas now I get to actually enjoy the mornings and work on some personal health before going into the office. And so usually I'll come up here, do a quick Peloton ride. This is kind of when my wife's getting up as well. She usually gets ready for work right now. Ever since COVID, things have really changed. It used to be in the office where, you get in super early, get your call started and all that stuff. We didn't really use Zoom or anything back then. We had Skype, but nobody really used it. But nowadays, it's a lot more of a kind of a hybrid model. And then usually try and get to the office by 8:30. So now with the Peloton ride done, head downstairs, get some coffee, some breakfast, get the day started. All right guys, so now I'm down here in the kitchen. My wife's still getting ready upstairs. So usually I come down here and I start making my coffee, take my vitamins, and kind of get the day started. I actually tend to fast. I usually don't eat breakfast, and this kind of just formed out of habit in both college and when I was starting out in real estate. I didn't actually have the money to afford 3 meals a day, so I would just skip breakfast to save money. And it kind of just stuck with me ever since. If I am hungry, I'll make some eggs real quick, some avocado, maybe avocado toast, or grab something on the way to the office. But for today, I'm just gonna make some coffee. I actually recently invested in the Breville Smart coffee maker, and it's been a game changer. At the end of the day, it actually saves money because you're grinding your own beans, you're not paying for the pods and all that stuff, but it's really cool. It can make a lot of different coffee beverages. I tend to go with the latte because it's a little bit easier on the teeth. Also, I take a bunch of different vitamins in the morning, but I swear by these two, NCT and BP Stability by Life Seasons. I have a heart condition that I was born with. I've had elevated blood pressure my whole life, and these have been a great natural way to kind of reduce that without going on pharmaceuticals like I used to be. And so if you ever notice in my videos where I get a little winded or kind of start sounding like I'm getting a little hoarse, it's because my heart's just not keeping up with talking for the video, unfortunately. But anyway, this is kind of my morning routine down here, and then I head upstairs to go get ready for the day. So nowadays, the office is a bit more business casual than it used to be, especially before COVID. Back when I first started, you had to wear a full suit and tie. And then over the next couple of years, it kind of got a little bit more relaxed where you could wear slacks, a button-down shirt, and usually a tie. But nowadays, you can get away with just slacks and a button-down, really just wearing suits for important meetings. And a lot of guys in the office just wear polos and slacks, and I definitely do that on hot days as well. But it's really interesting to see how much the dress code has really changed in the last few years. It's pretty mind-blowing, especially compared to what we started with. So just going with the white button-down today, classic for commercial real estate, and let's head to the office. So on the way to work, like I mentioned earlier, it's a really short commute nowadays. It's only about 5 minutes. Back in the day, it used to be like 15 to 30 minutes back when we had to deal with the California freeways to get to work. But now we just live down the street, so it's super convenient. And that allows me to wake up a little bit later, really enjoy the mornings, get the morning started. One of my favorite aspects about commercial real estate is that every day is different. Some days I'm out touring, some days I'm going to LA, some days I'm going to San Diego for clients, and then some days we're in the office. And honestly, there's days where it's kind of a mix of both. And then there's some days where I work from home. Today's gonna be more of an office day, which I think is probably more applicable to the average typical day. So I wanted to show you guys that. But there are full days where you're up in LA or in San Diego touring, where you're out of the office completely. So I do have one meeting today. It's a lunch meeting with a client who isn't doing a lot of deals right now, but they have in the past. And it's just always good to just touch base with them and kind of just stay in front of them. You never know when the next deal is going to come up or if they need help with something. So you always just want to stay in front of people as much as you can, and a lunch meeting is a great way to do that. But the bulk of today is going to be spent in the office, working on contracts, making phone calls, checking in with various clients, and then some clients we have weekly or daily calls especially if it's a high velocity client where they're doing a lot of deals and you got to talk to them a lot more frequently. And so there'll be a couple of those today as well. All right, so just parked, just got to the office. Let's go ahead on inside and I'll show you guys around. There's gonna be some areas that I can't film, obviously, just because of the sensitivities with clients and everything else, but I'll show you guys what I can, and we'll have a great day in there. All right guys, so we're in the office. In our office, we have open seating, we have standing desks, and our team kind of sits together. I'm not filming that area just because I don't want to put them on YouTube, as well as just client sensitivities and everything else in that area. So I'm in a breakout room where I do calls and everything else. But usually when I get into the office, the first thing I do is check email just real quick to make sure that there's nothing pressing. If there is, I'll respond to it real quick and kind of get that cleared. And then I also check the calendar. And I mean, I check the calendar like first thing when I wake up and even the night before just to make sure I'm prepped for the next day. But it's always good just to make sure nothing else has popped up and make sure that I'm staying on time. After those two items are complete, my next task always is to dive into CoStar, which is kind of our listing service, to see what has popped up overnight in the last 24 hours as new listings on the market that would be worth looking at for a bunch of my clients. And sorry if you're getting a little background noise, we are near the freeway, so this side of the office is always a little bit noisier. Hopefully it's not too bad for you. Say that as a car's going by. But anyway, CoStar is great because you can really filter down the results, find exactly what your clients want. And obviously, you wouldn't be a good broker without knowing about off-market listings and having relationships with landlords and sellers. But CoStar is a great starting point for finding things that are on market that basically anybody with CoStar can see. But there's things on CoStar that you can't see on LoopNet, which is the public version, because CoStar is a paid subscription. I talked about that in another video where I talked about how to find and locate commercial real estate deals. So if you want to watch that video, I'll link it up above. But basically, I go through and I first check to make sure that I'm not missing anything that popped up in the last 24 hours. After going through CoStar and seeing if there's any deals that make sense to send to clients, I'll usually reach out on those deals and then send them to my clients to see if they're interested. In the meantime, I'm also checking tracking sheets, to-do lists, just really hitting the ground running, getting the day started, making sure that I'm on top of everything that needs to happen to be a successful day. Now, I'm a tenant broker. I'm not really a landlord broker. I do some landlord work, but I do mostly tenant and buy-side representation. So I don't have a ton of listings. Guys with a lot of listings usually start their mornings by returning sign calls. That's rare for me. I usually only have like 1 or 2 a day that I need to return, if that. And that's only if we have a couple listings at the time. There are times where I don't have any listings at all because I'm purely just working on tenant rep and some buy-side rep. But today, I actually do have 2 signed calls that I need to follow up on. So I'm gonna call them right now. I unfortunately can't let the audio play, so I'll just speed through it. But this would be something that I would do kind of right away in the morning to get back to them, especially if they called the night before. Hi, this is Trace with call. Sorry I missed you last night. I believe you were calling on our listing at. Happy to provide the lease rate. We are asking. I did want to let you know we do have 3 offers already, with a 4th most likely coming in. We're only on a couple rounds of the counters with the other groups, so there is a little bit of a window of opportunity. But anyway, if you want to talk further, give me a call back and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thanks so much. So that first one was a voicemail. Unfortunately, we actually didn't connect, but hopefully they'll call me back later. All right, let me try the other one. And what's cool is we're using Microsoft Teams now, so all of the inbound calls, especially when you're offline, comes into your email. So you can see a write-up of exactly what they want. So if it's spam, you don't have to worry about it. But this one looks legit, so I'm gonna call them back as well. Hi, John. Hey, how's it going? It's Trace. Okay, so that next one actually we did connect. It was great. They are interested in the property. They want a tour later this week, so I'll see if I can find some time. I shot him an email with the listing brochure and the asking rate, which I also quoted on the phone call, and we'll see. It's kind of a funky use that he put forward. I don't know if it's something the city would approve. Told him to call the city and check it out. But anyway, that is it for the sign calls this morning, which is great. So now we move on to client work. And client work is really interesting because there's a bunch of different ways that we handle client work. Some of it, like I mentioned, is weekly calls. Some of it is email. Some of it is drafting LOIs, etc. I do have a couple offers I need to get out this morning, so I'll be drafting those in a little bit. But I do want to check in with a couple clients real quick just to see how things are going on a couple active deals. So that was a good call. We basically just went through our active deals. I was checking the spreadsheet as we were running through it. Most of the LOIs that we are active on right now were sent out last week. They were mostly counters. There was only 1 new deal. So we were kind of running through all of the counter LOIs to make sure that those were sent out. There was nothing new to really run through outside of that, other than just making sure those have been submitted. And we kind of just went through the status update for each deal. All right, time for a quick morning break. It's been a productive morning so far. Gonna go grab some water real quick. So we have these somewhat fancy coffee machines and then water. So this is one of my favorite rooms. It is one of our meeting rooms, and this is usually one of the rooms that we bring especially newer clients into, but then also Each year we usually have a strategy meeting with our clients to kind of go through their territory and their expansion plans and what type of real estate they want to chase. What makes this room so cool is the giant map that we have on the wall, which a guy in our office put together. It has all the different trade areas and markets kind of broken out individually, and you can really get super granular in here. So when you come in and have a big meeting with a bunch of clients, it's very easy to walk through the different areas, especially of Orange County, of where they want to be and what they want to go after. Obviously, it doesn't compare to just actually getting out and driving the real estate itself. Also kind of funny, this is actually the exact room that I was interviewed in and hired in when I first started applying to this firm to work for. But after this, I do have that lunch meeting, so I'm gonna head over to that. All right, just got to Fashion Island, gonna go meet with my client real quick. Again, not gonna videotape this part, but after lunch, gonna do some cold calling and get back into the office. So let me go meet with them and I'll see you guys soon. Back from lunch. It was a good lunch meeting. Had a great time. The only downside is that I did not realize there's marine fog over here. It's crazy. So where we live, near the coast, there can be what's called marine fog during certain times of the year. And there can be like a 20-degree difference between where our office is and the coast. And it is cloudy and cold over here, and our office is sunny and hot. So definitely a little chilly eating outdoors with him, but had a good conversation. Not looking to do anything right now, but hopefully next year. And overall, positive conversation. But back to the office, got some stuff to do, so let's head back. Okay, so let's talk cold calling, because that is kind of a requirement for any asset class you're in with commercial real estate. It's pretty much unavoidable. The good news is, as I've gotten more senior, I've gotten a lot more referrals, and I have to do a lot less cold calling, but I still try and mix it in pretty much every day or every other day, just to try and get new business, because you never know when your existing business is going to dry up. And we've landed some awesome clients through cold calling, so it's definitely not a dead art. I think if you're reaching out to people who were born like 1985 and earlier, you'll have better luck reaching them on a phone call or a cold call than you will over digital, such as Instagram, email, etc. I use a few different software platforms when I'm cold calling. And again, I kind of vary the timing on the cold call block. Usually I prefer to do it before lunch, but today I ran out of time. So we're doing it after lunch today, which is notoriously a little bit trickier just because people tend to have kind of a food coma after lunch and don't necessarily answer their phones as much. But we'll give it a shot, see how it goes. So what I'm doing right now is I'm basically just farming one street, and it's a street in Orange County, and I'm just gonna call the different owners and see if they're interested in selling. We've got 3 different numbers. We'll give all of them a try. This one looks to be possibly the best bet. Dead number, didn't go anywhere. Okay, I'm gonna try the second one down. It just keeps ringing. It's not going anywhere. Yeah, I'm gonna hang up. All right, strike 2. Last possible option, here we go. Yeah, disconnected. Okay, well, unfortunately, all 3 of those were a bust. That happens from time to time. I mean, it actually happens kind of frequently. These software programs aren't perfect, so you don't always get the right individual. But we'll move on to the next property. All right, well, hey, thank you so much for your time. Like I said, if you change your mind or have any other questions, please feel free to give me a call. I'm gonna shoot you an email as well if that's all right, just so you have my contact information. But all right, well, hey, have a great day, and thanks again. Okay, so that one went a little bit better. He's unfortunately not looking to do anything, but at least we talked. I'm gonna send him a follow-up email. He gave me his email address, so he has my contact information, and hopefully he'll keep it on file. I'll probably put this in my calendar for like 3 to 4 months from now to follow up. But a call like this where, you know, he was nice enough, he talked to me for a little bit, but at the end of the day wasn't interested. This is one that we just chalk up as a warm lead, something to follow up on again in a couple months. So that's pretty much how we leave it, and then we move on to the next. All right, so that's it for the office portion for today. Got everything I needed to finished and completed. So now I've got a little bit of free time to go head to the gym, go home, see the wife, do some dinner, and then I'll get back online later to check email and do some follow-up work as well. So I'm headed over to the gym. I go to Lifetime, which is actually a deal that our team did. I was part of that transaction, which is pretty cool. So it's really cool going to a client's establishment that I helped put together. And the really nice thing is that it's actually walking distance from our place. So what I like to do is come home from the office, change real quick, and then walk there to get my 10,000 steps a day. And usually I go with buddies from the office, but I didn't want to make them be on the YouTube channel. So today I'm going alone, but I'll show you guys what it looks like inside. So usually when we first get here, we warm up with a little bit of basketball. It just kind of helps get the blood flow before working out. And usually when I'm here with the buddies from the office, We shoot some hoops. If you miss, you do some push-ups. All finished working out, headed back home, and we'll see what we're up to for dinner. It's also just so nice walking to the gym and being outside out of the office, especially when you've been there all day. So I really enjoy this part of the day. Whew, back from the gym, had a great workout. So usually I try and get the workout done before about like 6:15, 6:30-ish. My wife usually gets home, well, pretty much any minute now. And I try and get done with all of it by the time she gets back, just so I can maximize the amount of time that we have together. And if I'm really tight on time, then I'll just hit the tonal right behind me. If you guys haven't ever used one of those, they are awesome. Can't recommend it enough. Great time saver and great workouts. But usually I go to Lifetime at least a couple times a week, and it's so nice that it's just walking distance. So usually after the workout, we'll go grab dinner or make some dinner here and kind of just hang out for a little while, unwind, just chill. Usually around like 8-ish or so, that's when I'll get back online, check email, try and just knock out anything that I can in the evenings so that my mornings are lighter, so I can really focus on doing my morning routine, which I walked you guys through on this video. For me, I found that shooting emails off around like 8 or 9 actually gets pretty good response in the morning, as opposed to sending them around like 5 or 6. I don't know why, it's just kind of weird. People like seem to just check out around 5. So sending them later in the evening for whatever reason seems to work best. And then lastly, before I get ready for bed and kind of wind down for the evening, I'll usually try and write a YouTube script or do a little bit of research or maybe some YouTube editing. And that's kind of like the final piece of work at the very end of the day, just to work on some social media stuff and help grow the YouTube channel. After all that's done, we usually try and go to bed around like 10:30 or 11. And then wake up the next day and start it all again. But anyway, guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed a day in the life. I know it's a lot, but it's also a lot of fun. If you're thinking about getting into real estate, I have a bunch of videos all about it, including one about getting your real estate license. So I definitely recommend checking that out if you haven't already. But anyway, guys, that's it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching the whole thing. I'll see you next time.